Truly, there's no rest for the weary. Scarce had I begun to make myself a home when I received requests for assistance from the Amagina and Sons mere no concern. It would appear that the storehouse in Horizon has been the target of a series of covert robberies. Minor as they seemed in isolation, occasional discrepancies in the manifest were long dismissed as clerical errors. It was only during the concern's annual audit that a pattern became apparent. Significant quantities of crystals, and only crystals, were missing. I need hardly tell you what that might imply. The brass plates charged with investigating the thefts believes that someone within the concern is selling the crystals for profit. Alas, they have as yet been unable to identify a likely suspect, and the concern's proprietors have grown frustrated by the lack of progress. Needless to say, I would not have agreed to intervene with this had the stolen goods been merely upon monetary value. If there is even a possibility that the thief acts not out of self-interest but in service to a primal, we can ill afford to wait for the blades to realize their mistake. Pray depart for Horizon at your earliest convenience. Rendezvous with Ishtola when you arrive. She and Thancred have already begun a preliminary investigation. I have every confidence that the three of you will get to the bottom of these thefts. I only hope our fears prove unfounded when you do. Amkip, your assistance is most welcome. I've already spoken at length with the brass blades of the Rose, albeit to little avail. It would seem that the thieves took great pains to conceal their activities. I could go into further detail, but your time might be better spent in this conversation with Falupa. He's the officer charged with leading the investigation. I would only be repeating what he related to me. If aught eluded my attention, mayhap he will not elude yours. Amkip, what a pleasure to see you again. Stola said to expect you. Terrible business, these thefts. We have yet to confirm the quantity of crystals stolen, but I dare say it might be greater than... never mind that. I have news to share. A short while ago, the driver of a heavily laden carriage refused to halt for inspection and broke through one of the checkpoints at the Royal Allegan Sunlight. The cart bolted off towards the eastern Dandelion, where, thank the gods, I hear that our colleagues were able to apprehend them without further incident. Spinning carriage. That would seem a curious choice for thieves with such proven cunning. Yet the Amalja were to have a foothold in eastern Dandelion. And what of the cargo? Did they carry crystals we seek? We should be receiving a report any moment now, but I fail to see what else it could... Did you miss me, friends? I'm back, but I fear comparing disappointing news. On second thought, perhaps it's good news after all. Thancred, wherever have you been off to? I figured you had everything under control here, so I took a brief excursion to check up on our Amalja friends. And wouldn't you believe it? I happened upon a runaway carriage on the way, and I was even to do my part to help my friends in the brass pit intercept it. In all my years, I've never seen such a prodigious quality of songs. The braids were calling one of the greatest hauls they'd ever seen. The stolen crystals on their hand were nowhere to be found. Is that so? Alas, I suppose we have no choice but to resume our search elsewhere. We should reassess our options as well. Come with us, Amkip. And so we find ourselves back where we began. What have I overlooked? Against all expectation, it would seem the Amalja are innocent in this particular spate of crimes. By all indications, they have yet to replenish their stores of crystals exhausted during the last attempt to summon Igor. What I can't fathom is why anyone else would go to such great lengths to obtain crystals in such quantities. It cannot be what we are dealing with simple thieves. If the motive were profit, why would they limit their trade to crystals alone? Claiming we're missing something. While you think about what it might be, I shall inform Orianji of our progress or lack thereof.
Now then. Tis I. The situation may be more complicated than we anticipated.
Indeed, I shall remain watchful. Ere thou goest, another matter requireth thine attention. A young maiden, full eager to... Wherefore inquirest thou of her fairness? Oh, very well. Be she damsel or devil, I shall direct her steps to Revenant's toll. Save thine insinuations for one given to such impropriety. Thou shalt not find me amenable.
I thought she was later in the story, that's right.
Far across the sea from the land of Domar have we traveled. We seek audience with the ruler of these lands. Who here speaks for you?
May have a more subtle purpose. Any bright ideas? A solitary flash of insight. No? Well then, for want of a better suggestion, I was saying we pick up Fufulopa's brain again. Try picking up Fufulopa's brain again. Who knows, if we work together, we might yet find something of use nestled away within. Oh, but it's good to see you return. I've given some thought to the matter, and I've just hit upon the most disturbing possibility. How could I have been so blind? Calm yourself, Fufulopa. What is this disturbing possibility of which you speak? I was contemplating how the thieves' activity escaped our notice for so long. Then it came to me. What if there's someone among our own ranks conspiring with them? A traitor in our own midst? It would be most unfortunate if your fears prove well-founded, Fufulopa. Indeed. If for reasons of security, the concerned decided to transfer the remaining crystals stored in Horizon to another location, the plan would be discovered the moment the brass blades were informed. Ah, but such a shipment would surely be well guarded. Would thieves be as well as ours risk open confrontation? Mayhap not, but neither would the concerned be eager to represent them with such an obvious target. Nay, they may instead elect to carry out the transfer in secret, entrusting goods to let us say, a lone Nikoti miner, traveling without escort so as not to attract undue attention. But who? Ah, I see. Yes, the concern may well like to do that, but to travel with so much cargo would be a strenuous task indeed, and this miner would certainly need to be rest off on the way, mayhap north of the bridge to Himalaya. Fine spot for a rest, would you not agree, Amkip? You lie in wait for the north, and I shall do the same to the south. Forgive me, my friends, but I have received no orders. I must inform my men at once. Only say, don't be surprised if these thieves lay down their arms and surrender. See that you come prepared to offer them some encouragement. Bet there's some quest between those two cuts of your head. Stub into the last, as expected. You are unharmed. A gang of seawolves, the thieves, and then down. I suppose it's the first time for everything. Seawolves. All of them. Aye. And all with the same taste and facial tattoos. Blue in case you're wondering. But these are a long way from home. Tancred, if you'd be so kind as to attend to the outstanding matters in Horizon, I have inquiries to make. To Horizon, then, for Valuba will want to hear about your meeting with the thieves. On behalf of the Brass Blaze of the Rose, I thank you for your service to Horizon. But we have not been idle. While you were afield, we succeeded in identifying the traitor within our ranks. Is that so? Then by your leave, I should very much like to have a word with the fellow in private. No, I'm afraid that will not be possible. Regrettably, he, managed to subdue the units of Blade, dispatched to detain him, and made good his escape. Oh, for the love. And how did he manage that exactly? Your men haven't been sampling the Somnus we confiscated, have they? Or was he a giant in disguise? No, but he was quite strong. A sea wolf, Lamentin born and raised, I believe. But do not worry, we will find him. You have my word on that. I see. Pray keep me apprised of any developments. Yes, he's standing next to me. Understood. We are a long time together as at an end, my friend. Our services are required elsewhere. Awfully disappointing, I know, but one must follow where duty leads. You might try to look a little disappointed, or do you mean to give me another one of your straight nods? You do, don't you? The antecedent bid me tell you to make for Vesper Bay, where a young Alphino awaits you're coming most eagerly. It was he who requested your assistance. Some commotion or incident, I'm not privy to details. Wherever you do whatever it is Alphino has planned for you, you shall endeavor to track down our traitor's Brass Blade. When I do, you may rest assured that we will have our answers. You do know Alphino hates to be kept waiting, don't you? Ah, but of course you do. Carry on then. You are late. No matter. I know where our visitors are headed. From what I've been able to gather, this vessel belonged to the band of Domans who seek an audience with the Sultan. You're familiar with Doma, yes? An oath lord? Well, just like the rest of the nations in the Eastern Continent, it is ruled by the Garlean Empire. Given our visitors' announced arrival, as well as the state of their ship, I suspect they did not leave their homeland under the best of circumstances. Needless to say, I should be very interested to hear the tale, and more importantly, what they know of the current state of affairs of the Empire. Such information could prove most useful. We would be fools not to pursue this opportunity, do you not think? Come with me to old Amkip. Last time I'm mistaken, I'm very rarely mistaken. You will find the Domans bickering with the Sultan's word on a royal clock. You're uncertain of your role in the proceedings. Insurance. Our guests are not themselves imperial agents. It seems fair to assume that they may be pursued by some. And if not, we're better than you to have on hand an event of unforeseen diplomatic interest. Says I do so enjoy your sparkling rubber tea. Satisfied? Good. I shall see you in Bulldog. It matters not how many times you ask. Without necessary permissions, none shall pass. Pray understand, good sir. We're not here have not the leisure to lodge a formal petition. Time is of the essence. All I ask is that you summon your superior. Allow me to plead my case. Surely you can grant me that small kindness. Away with you. You darken near these doors no longer. I will not ask again. You know not what you do. I gather your pleas fell upon deaf ears. A loyal man with a cold heart. I know this kind well. I hope you will find me more to your liking. I'll no level your service. A friend. Which I believe makes us very nearly unique, in this part of the world at least. Few indeed are your allies in Ul'dah, yet you will need some if you wish to endear yourselves to the wealthy and powerful. Pray join me and my associates at the Quicksand. There you may explain your situation to us, and we shall see if there's aught we can do to help. Master Alphinaud's associate, yes? Been ready for you. Trust you are ready to begin.
We have traveled some several thousand miles across the sea from the nation of Doma, in hopes that we might find sanctuary in these lands.
Sanctuary, Lady Yugiri?
Aye. Lying within Othard, Doma was under the dominion of the Garlean Empire, as I'm sure you are aware. When the War of Succession broke out in Garlemald, we espied an opportunity to free ourselves from the yoke of imperial oppression and took up arms. Only to be crushed. And so I gathered what few Domans escaped the reckoning and guided them hither to your shores.
A war of succession? Then the Emperor... Forgive me. You said that Doma was under Imperial rule, did you not?
Doma is gone. Razed to the ground as an example to the other provinces.
12 have mercy. And your people?
On a ship anchored in Vesper Bay, flying borrowed colors. Many were complicit in the rebellion, or akin to those who were. They will not come ashore until I send word that it is safe to do so. I sought an audience with your rulers, but was summarily refused.
The lords of Ul'dah are not wont to entertain foreign refugees without suitable encouragement.
Mayhap I was foolish to expect otherwise, but our supplies run low and we have young ones in urgent need of care. I have seen the tents outside the gates, however. We are not the first to seek asylum, nor will we be the last.
Be that as it may, Ul'dah is no friend to Garlemald. Your tale would stir the hearts of many men and women here. The Sultana and the Syndicate will not be so easily swayed, but I shall see that you are granted an opportunity to plead your case.
This is within your power?
Well, far be it from me to boast, but I do have the ear of certain influential individuals.
I am in your debt.
Lady Yugiri, forgive me for observing, but your choice of attire seems like to evoke feelings of mistrust.
Men are wont to fear the unfamiliar. We know this from experience. We seek only to spare the people of Ul'dah unnecessary disquiet.
I shall defer to your experience, then.
I thank you for your understanding.
It seems I have urgent business with the Flame General. I leave our guests in your capable hands.
We are grateful beyond measure for this guidance. Lady Yukiri labors day and night for the good of our people. She is an inspiration to us all, yet I worry for her health. If I may, sir, as I said earlier, we have been at sea for several moons, and our supplies are all but spent. I have not the heart to repeat the tales of our tribulations, nor would it please you to listen to them, I think. Suffice it to say, however, sacrifices have been made. Though it shames me to beg for more when you already have offered so much, desperation compels me. Gentle sir, if you or your associates could spare any provisions, anything at all, it would go a long way to lessen the suffering of my people. Hells, why didn't you say so sooner, Amkip? Of course I'll help. You couldn't have picked a better day, to tell the truth. Wealthy merchant and his entourage would do to have a banquet here on the morrow, but see, but just somewhere they can't come, meaning I've got a boatload of foodstuffs and no one to feed. Best of all, they paid for the lot in advance. Go and call on Fedora and Catherine at the Sapphire Avenue Exchange. Tell them I said to ship the Little Prince's order to the Waking Sands. Oh, if they argue, just show them those letters. That should send them straight. She's in the business of feeding. She's in the business of feeding refugees now, huh? I mean, normally want to question Mrs. Mullen's judgment. That doesn't seem wise to me. I'll not speak for the children, but if you ask me, any man that can't earn their crust deserves to go hungry. My, that's a rather odd request. Mayhap you have misheard her instructions. You know, You shouldn't encourage them like this. They'll start to expect it. You mark my words. Ugh. You're Amkip Wol, the famous adventurer. Thank the gods for bringing you here. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Payo Rejo, one of many faceless adventurers struggling to make their way through Inoriosia. Forgive me if I sound bitter. I don't begrudge you your renown. Your superiority as an adventurer was obvious to me long before you became a household name. Our paths crossed near Sistashi, you see. Hard to believe we moved in similar circles back then. Speaking of which, do you perchance remember having met a conjurer named Etta around that time? We used to adventure together, she and I, and 2 others. Our little group didn't last very long, though. Things fell to pieces when Javier, our leader, and Etta's fiancé, met a Zenit in the Tower of Deepcroft. Harsh words were exchanged and we all went our separate ways. Since then, I've been getting by on my own. Truth be told, I hadn't planned on seeing many of my former converts again when this letter arrived from Etta containing an invitation for our wedding. Now, I know what you're thinking. I should be happy for her. And I was. Until I noticed the name of a groom-to-be. It was none other than Javier. What's more, the venue of the ceremony is to be the Tower of Deepcroft, the very place where the poor fellow died. Something isn't trying to tell you. Now, in the letter, I just wrote that Liavian, that's the 4th member of our group, had already agreed to attend. A chance to meet each other recently from what I could gather. Not knowing what to make of it all, I thought it wise to consult Liavian about the whole strange affair before replying. But last I heard, she joined the Signs of the 7th Dawn. I didn't have the first idea how to go about tracking her down. Not until the greatest sign of them all appeared, that is. Could you tell me where I might find her? In the Church of the Saint Adama Ladama. I'm sorry, I didn't. Send an Imperial Register. The 12, I had no idea. When did this happen? Well, the Black Wolf still lived. Then, how can they let Liavian met Ada recently? Gods, I don't know what to believe. As if it's not too much asked, I would be most grateful if you'd show me Liavian's grave. We didn't always see eye to eye, but she had a good heart, and she's truly... Well, I need to pay my respects. Please, meet me at the lich yard. They didn't give any trouble, did they? Good. I'm not going to tell Lady Yugiri it's all in hand. I did not hope for such magnanimity. Not less expected. Mistress Momoni is generous indeed. I shall be sure to thank her most humbly. Lady Yugiri, I briefed the Flame General on your situation. I think you would be pleased with his reply. We've been granted an audience. For the Sultana and the Syndicate both. We should both return to the Royal Promenade at once. You have done much for us, Master Afno. I swear we shall return with a favor. Naught is owed, Lady Yugiri, for naught has been given. The small favor you have fairly won with your words, and it is words that you must win the favor of the Syndicate. Then I shall choose them with care. You'll be accompanying us, yes? Good. Your presence may serve to remind the Syndicate of the true meaning of philanthropy, and that nothing so unpalatable will be required of them, assuming the Domans are willing to earn their keep. Come, the Flame General awaits us on the Royal Promenade. We are all enemies of Garlemald. Is it not fitting that we should join forces? I've heard that Sultana is a kind of generous ruler. Of the Syndicate, I have heard less flattering things. Bards sing of wars which decided fates of nations. But a single word spoken within a council chamber is more likely to decide that of my own. We must take pains to illustrate how accepting Domans would benefit Ulda. Only then will the Syndicate be swayed. I wish to greet our guests beforehand and offer my support to their cause. Doman, Uldan, matters not to me. The birthplace does not equate to birthright in mine eyes. I take great pride in my establishments for this very reason. The Platinum Mirage, particularly serves as a showcase for the talents of countless men and women born beyond our borders. A pleasure, Corporal Wol. The others are already inside. Let's not keep them waiting.
I, Ugiri of Doma, am honored to meet you at last, Your Grace. To mark this auspicious occasion, I should like to present to you the finest treasures our humble nation has to offer. Alas, the circumstances which have brought me here today have divested me of both time and dignity. I come before you as a pauper in direst need of aid, to request that you grant my people asylum.
I, Nanamo, 17th in the line of Ul, welcome you to our city. Be at ease, Lady Ugiri. Although I myself have heard the tale of your misfortune, I would ask that you recount it once more for the benefit of the others here present.
As you wish, Your Grace. For many years, my nation, Doma, suffered under the yoke of imperial rule, and my people yearned to be free. Thus, when a war of succession broke out in Garlemald, we sought to take advantage of the chaos and reclaim our liberty. Alas, our enemy proved less preoccupied than we had hoped, and our rebellion was put down in the most brutal fashion.
Those who survived, how many do they number?
More than 200 souls huddle within the cramped confines of our own galleon's hold. Yet this figure accounts for but one of a number of ships which escaped the purge. It is my hope that you will allow us all to dwell within your walls. Should that prove unfeasible, however, I humbly ask that you accept as many of my people as your resources allow. Pray understand, we do not beg a boon, but propose instead an arrangement. We would serve as soldiers or tradesmen until our debt is repaid.
What are the Syndicate's opinions on this matter?
I, for one, think it's a marvelous idea. Lady Ugiri and her people strike me as an industrious lot, and there are parts of the city which have yet to be fully restored. If they are willing to work, I see no reason not to let them.
The head of the Mirage Trust is not known for his generosity. He sees profit in this.
I agree. That said, these are foreign refugees. To admit them would require a formal resolution. Shall we call a vote?
The law is the law.
Lord Lolorito?
Tell me, are you blind or willfully ignorant? Even now, our streets are choked with the displaced victims of the Calamity and Alamigan refugees. They live hand to mouth, subsisting on aid provided by the immortal flames, the cost of which grows ever higher. The wealth of Ul'dah is not without limits, my friends. And need I remind you that these refugees are prone to violence and criminal activity? You have all read the reports, I think. Without homes or employment, it is only a matter of time before men grow desperate and take that which they imagine has been unjustly denied them. Yet, knowing this, you would have us swell their ranks. Mayhap you think the brass blades and the flames are not hard-pressed enough?
Some say the chairman of the East Aldenard Trading Company passes Gil thrice daily. This may explain how he came to be the wealthiest man in Ul'dah. Or it may simply be that he's ruthless beyond reckoning.
Surely the Sultanate can support the few hundred domins Lady Yugiri represents. That our resources have been taxed, I do not deny. But we are hardly in danger of financial collapse. I move that an exception be made.
An exception, Your Grace? I am suddenly reminded of a similar debate some years ago regarding a number of Alamigan refugees, if memory serves. What were your words that day? Ah, yes. The law is the law. And so our visitors remained in Little Alamigo. Mayhap our wise and benevolent Sultana would be so good as to enlighten us as to which other of our laws should not be upheld.
Mind your tongue, Lolorito.
My lord, I share your concern for the welfare of our great nation, but we must endeavor to take a longer view. You know as well as I that people can be a resource still more precious than Gil.
Precious or not, they were never yet so reliable. And unlike those who frequent your establishment, I have no desire to gamble with my future. Ul'dah's greatest asset is, and has ever been, her material wealth. We risk this at our peril. One need only look to Teleji Adeleji's example for evidence of the danger in allowing sentiment to dictate policy. How far the vaunted Mirage hath fallen, both in repute and profitability, since he began employing refugees.
How I choose to conduct my affairs is not your concern, my lord.
A proposal has been tabled. Given its urgency, I move we forego further debate and call a vote. To accept the Doman refugees or not. Those in favor, I bid you remain. Those opposed, I bid you leave.
that it were within my power to welcome you and your people, Lady Yugiri. As you have observed, however, my authority in such matters is regrettably limited. Without the consent of the Syndicate, I cannot act.
I understand, Your Grace, and I appreciate all that you have done on our behalf.
The nerve of the man! If that bastard had not forsaken the eastern trade route, little Alamigo would now be thriving. Oh, that you should have traveled so far under such dire circumstances, only to be refused in this manner is utterly unconscionable. Pray, accept my sincerest apologies.
Now that the Empire no longer poses an immediate threat, they see little reason to maintain the pretense of unity. The Monitorists have grown especially defiant of late. Lord Lolorito most of all. But this is neither the time nor place for that discussion.
It bears repeating that Lord Lolorito does not speak for the Syndicate. There are others harbor doubts that will allow, but in dying they will see the error of their ways. My people could not endure another long sea voyage, but if Ul'dah will not accept us, what choice have we? Do they not hear Lady Yugiri's pleas? How can they turn us away, knowing what we have endured? Prone to violence and criminal activity. Who is he to speak of us thus? Are we to be punished for the sins we may never commit? As you have observed, sir, Lord Lolorito is not afraid to speak his mind, nor is he like to change it. Oft have I wondered how a man so skilled at weighing the worth of things should be so capable of seeing the value in people. Bah, I will waste no more words on him, not when the Domans are yet in need of aid. Everyone, follow me to the Hall of Flames. I should consider the likelihood of failure more deeply beforehand. I will not deny that certain portions of the refugee population become a burden on the Sultan, but I take issue with my counterpart's contention that they account for the majority. In this, they are plainly mistaken. Even so, we must not think ill of them for wishing to protect our great nation. It's not what we can do to earn the approval of these old ones. We do not wish to live by the grace of others. We want to work, we want to contribute. Galleon is no place for my people, for any people to follow. This cannot continue. The Syndicate has spoken. I seek no point moving that the matter be reconsidered. The monitors have made the position clear. Agreed. Ul'dah is not an option. Nor are Limsa, or Britannia judged, given the state of their internal affairs. Which leaves our Doman friends confined to a ship. Gods, the thought of them huddled on an airless hold with no hope for better treatment. Without having more time to find an alternative, a place not bound by the concerns of great nations. feeling. That is precisely what I wish to discuss. I understand the citizens' decision, I do. We all wish to preserve that which is ours, especially when we believe it to be under siege. I cannot naively accept this judgment, not when my people suffer. Would it be out of the question for the Sultan to accept us for a limited time, a week mayhap, or even just a few days? Excellent, I shall keep you informed. Lady Yukiri, I have a proposal for you here. Out with it, Master Alfred. The headquarters of my order, the Science of the Seventh Dawn, stands at a place called Revenant's Toll, an outpost of Mardona. Like most outposts, it is frequent mercenaries and other men of action. It lacks the comforts of more established settlements. However, the leaders of Revenant's Toll have been doing their utmost to change them. To that end, they have need of able-bodied individuals who are willing to work as frontier hands, hard labor, lest you doubt, with not safe food and shelter by way of reward. Terms not unlike those which you yourself propose, lady. Y'all will not hear a word said against our brother Udar. Reverend's Toll would offer certain advantages, the absence of unhelpful bureaucracy being the most obvious. If they cannot accommodate us all, we will gladly accept. Master Alphino, once again I find myself in your debt. Pray, do not take me, my lady. The life of your people go is one of hard labor and few comforts, as I told you. Before that, there remains a matter of how they may be safely borne to Revenant's Toll, which will be no small feat considering the distance and their present condition. Mayhap build on Adventurers Guild could be assistance. Look for me there or not. Lady Yukiri, if you and your people would accompany me, we may discuss what aid the Immortal Flames can provide. We are concerned that the Domain refugees may find the journey to Revenant's Toll too much to bear. Too long have they been sequestered aboard their ship with insufficient supplies and scarce room enough to breathe, let alone stretch the limbs. With that in mind, Mistress Momodi has kindly offered to accommodate their Domans until such time that they're ready to set out for Mardana. Those healthy enough to travel will embark as soon as transportation has been secured, while those too weak to leave at once will be permitted to stay until they regain their strength. What news? The transportation remains our greatest obstacle, General. Is there aught the Immortal Flames can do? I fear that exceeds our mandate. Were it small in number, it mayhap it would go unnoticed. The Syndicate will not bear the cost of escorting more than 200 domins to Mardona. When government fails to act, the responsibility falls to us private citizens. I will engage the services of 77 caravans on the Doman's behalf. Very well. We shall begin the contract negotiations at once. Your generosity is most welcome, my lord. After the house, I'll be following these good people. It's the least I can do. Come on, May. You shall ever have a friend in Ul'dah, Lady Yukiri. And you in Revenant's Toll, my lord. Well, sounds like we all have work to do. Lady Yugiri, let's put our heads together and settle the details of our arrangement, shall we? I would trust the task of escorting our Daltman friends to you, after you've rested your own road-weary legs, of course. What say you? As we speak, the Domain's preparing for departure at Vesper Bay, wherefrom they will be transported by carriage to Ul'dah. That said, this has all been decided rather suddenly, and would not surprise me if the refugees required some assistance in coordinating their preparations. Amkip, I would have you return to Vesper Bay and facilitate the process through tasks great and small. In short, whatever must be done, needs to be done, do it. Speak with a man named Hozan when you arrive. Lady Yugiri tells that he has been designated leader of the first group. Greetings. Alphino informed me that a scion would be arriving to help with the preparations. I am honored to meet you, though ashamed as well. A great warrior should not be tasked with such frivolities. A newcomer glance will matter. I too have some skill on arms, as do many of our people. Pray forgive this trifle, although my age trouble you help round up the children that have been given into my care. I am most adept at getting hidden from my sight. Perhaps your keen eyes will succeed where I am. You have my thanks. Pray seek out my son, Yozad. You can tell you more. Oh, hello there. I'm Yozad, son of Hozan. Will you be coming with us to Ul'dah? I hear we're traveling by horse-drawn carriage. But don't you think they're queer? Giant birds have people ride like horses? I still want to try riding one, but... What's that? You're looking for the others? Don't worry, I've already told them to get ready for the carriages. I need your help, though. We're just finishing a game of hide and seek. A few pairs are still in hiding. Since Lady Yugiri told us to take it really seriously, they won't move until they're found. Professor Bay isn't that big, so I bet you can find them in no time. Hey, you're not Yozan. Who are you? I'm Kaharu. Amkip Wol, huh? I didn't know anyone else was. Wait a minute. You're one of those, stallions, aren't you? No, scions. Then you must know Lady Yugiri, right? Isn't she great? She's really good at hide and seek, too. Oh, right. It's almost time to go. Nice meeting you, Amkip Wol. Are you playing? No fair. Yozan didn't say anything about adults. You can ride a horseback carriage? I don't know. It sounds scary. If Yozan said if it's safe to go, I'll go. How'd you find me? I just have to practice more. Maybe you're just good at this. I mean, the Guardians didn't find me. Wonderful. Children are counted hide and seek? I see you're curious. Quite simple, really. Lady Yuri thought it best that the children know what to do in case the Guardians find us. I hope that those days are behind us, but nonetheless it is comforting knowing that we are prepared. The first caravan is due to depart shortly, followed by the rest at regular intervals. My family and I, including my stubborn old father Homai, will be traveling in the lead carriage together with the young Kaharu, whom I believe we already met. I understand the road to Yuldao is regularly patrolled by your brass blades. It would give us great comfort if you would agree to accompany us on your journey. Once again, I thank you for your kindness. When you're ready to leave, please inform our coachman. Fascinating creatures. Whence did they come? These reports of a great beast on the road to Oldar are the most trouble. Ah, grandfather's so lucky. These horse birds smell terrible. Oh, it's so fluffy. You gonna be off, eh? I asked it. Well, I've been meaning to have a word with you about it. Running for the blade said we might have a problem. Fierce looking beasties been sighted south of Persian Patagonia. Might as well someone's eyeing eyes are trying to tricks on them, of course, but don't play to gamble in this business. Now, I know you can handle yourself in a fight, but there's lots here's another story. So I was thinking you might go on ahead and have a quick look around, make sure the area is safe like. And if you come across anything dangerous, you know what to do. When you're satisfied the way's clear, meet us outside horizon. Braids tell me the road's there safe, so I reckon we can make it that far on our own. Assuming the self-same bastards don't try to rob us, that is. Pleased to see me you well. See you well. Come, let the coachman know we can continue on toward Ulda. I must say, that was hardly a surprisingly pleasant ride. Perhaps the journey to Revenant's Toll won't be so bad so after all. What do you think would win a race, a horse or a horse bird? They have wings, so that means they can't fly? And does that mean that we can fly if we ride on it? So there was a beast. Was being the operative word, eh? Well fought, sir. Well fought. Ah, if only in better health. I should have been proud to stand by your side. But my son no mind. He forgets that his responsibilities include acts of daring do. Be that as may, I cannot help but envy you. Had I been able to call upon heroes with your strength and skill in Dolan, things would have been very, very different. We cannot change the past. Those who fought and fell are forever lost to us. Lost but not forgotten. Lady Yugiri's kinmen least of all. They fought fiercest, though they knew full well it was in vain. She had every right to walk away. Yet she chose to stay. Food, shelter, promise a better life. All this and more we owe to her. How does one even begin to repay such debt? And kind Father, to she who has given everything, we shall give all. Whatever work there is to be done, we shall do without question. Ditch digging, bricklaying matters not. Revenant still will grow and prosper by our hands. Hey, Mr. Amkip, Kaharu and I want to know why you became an adventurer. To go whither the wild rose blooms. So, you like roses? I think I understand. I mean, they're nice and everything. But don't they grow a lot of places? It's my turn. Excuse me, Mr. Amkip, I've got a question. What's Reverend Stoll like? Is it pretty? It's a bustling outpost frequented by countless adventurers. You mean there are lots of people there who are just strong as you? Oh, I can't wait. Enough, Koharu. It's my turn again. Mr. Amkip, when I'm older, I want to be strong like you. What do I have to do? So you got no experiences at adventures. Of course, the better the adventure, the more you go adventure. Alright. That's enough questions for Mr. Amkip. That's not fair. Why does he always get asked to do questions? I want to know about adventuring just as much as he does. Just one more, please. Do you think you could be an adventurer like you just one day? Really? Then I will. Thanks for the advice, Mr. Amkip. I won't forget it. I'm going to be an adventurer too. When we get to Ranvid Stoll, let's make an adventurous skill for Domans. We'll protect our friends and punish the wicked, just like Mr. Amkip and Lady Yugiri. Yeah, let's make Mr. Amkip and Lady Yugiri. We can talk more about it in the carriageway on the way. We'll be joining us. They do not go too accustomed to this treatment. It is welcome respect, to be sure. Far cry what we can expect from the Revenant Stoll. As the first group arrived, wonderful. Better inform our staff not once. We welcome your return. I'm taking the first group as a ride. Excellent. Sarah Isles? No, I'll leave the matters alone in hand here. You and Lady Yugiri should transfer to Reverend Store forthwith. With the guild representatives at Revenue Store. Since I do not foresee any further matters arising here in Thanalan which might require your personal attention, I might instead have you serve as an escort to the Domain delegation for the duration of the journey. Speak first to Slackborn upon your arrival. He's the one with whom the Domans will be working most closely, I should think. Afterwards, introduce Lady Yugiri to my Ophelia and the guild Emissary. If both meetings go well, the resulting time should stand the Domans in good stead for the what is to come. Safe travels. This must be the esteemed Lady Yugiri and her associates. I grant you all as friends, and build you welcome to the dome. I hope you do not find our dearth of fineries off-putting. Poor though we may seem, we have a wealth of spirit, and camaraderie to spare. See, race and creed don't enter into here. We welcome all sorts, provided they're willing to earn their keep, of course. We are no strangers to hard work, Master Slackborn. Rest assured that we will carry out your orders to due diligence. Oh, not for a moment did I doubt your commitment, lady. Pray understand, I gave the same speech to all new arrivals. Needing to bow your head and call me master either. We're both frontier hands as far as I'm concerned. As you wish, Slackborn. May this meeting mark the beginning of a long and fruitful relationship. I guess I've yet to be the anti-sailor. Seven hells, Amkip. Why are you wasting my time with me? See them to the Rising Stones. Forgive me, I require a moment to compose my thoughts before meeting with you. I shall join you with the Rising Stones in the night. Many cultures creeds, but I nevertheless suspect the domains will struggle to adapt. As with the case with other distant lands, I've heard rumors of mysterious magics and magical arts. I dare not lend credence to these tales, but I cannot help but hope that some of them are true. Did they really sail that half-rotted ship all the way from Other? Isn't that dangerous? What if I sprung a leak? So many youths here these days fail to understand that is incumbent on everyone to help those in need. That is why it's wonderful when young men like Yahori Boulder rise to the occasion. Oh, this little thing? It's nothing to compare to. Ugh! To what the Domans have endured. I wonder what herbs and spices they use in Doma. Maybe it's something I could add to my special tonic. Tis no use. Our attempts to reach the students at Baldessian continue to meet with failure. Urianji has explored new avenues of inquiry, but they too have yielded naught. We will persevere, of course, yet within our hearts the truth is clear. We are but awaiting confirmation of what we already know. How fare the Domans? I'm given to understand you kept quite busy in Vesper Bay. You have you question the wisdom of evading refugees when the primal threat remains unresolved. I should not blame you if you did, nor would I deny that this matter falls outside of our normal purview. Be that as it may, I could not ignore the plight of these refugees, not when it was with our power to help them. Lady Yugiri is here. Please show her in. I should very much like to meet her. We have no objections, but I do so with our blessing. Your answer pleases me beyond words, my lady. But are you quite certain? We have no way of knowing how many might answer my summons. In the event that Revenant's toll cannot accommodate us all, we would need to find an alternative solution. Should that come to pass, we will find it together. As ever, it has been a pleasure, antecedent. Alas, we must take our leave as the first carriage is due to arrive any moment. Should you require aught else, please speak with Slackborn. Lady Yukiri, Amkip. With so many able-bodied adventures about, what beast could pose a threat? I dare not give myself hope in full, but for the first time in many moons, I am willing to do so. I am amazed that none here knew of the War of Succession until we arrived. Have you truly heard naught of what is transpired? That mean, well, and I will make all the necessary preparations to ensure that their domain friends feel at home upon their arrival. Though I must admit that I am still troubled about the matter of the missing crystals. She told us she'd be returning anon with a report from a field. Perhaps you could wait here and speak with her upon her arrival.
How goes the fishing? Caught anything slippery?
Aye. Our suspicions were well founded. The Serpent Reavers are indeed the culprits.
The plot thickens.
Has there been any movement in Thanalan?
It has been blessedly quiet. Which is to say the Amalja are being no more or less of a nuisance than usual, summoning Ifrit with such crystals as they have hoarded. Urianger, too, reports not out of the ordinary.
Then we have our explanation.
Your explanation for what, pray tell?
For the recent spate of crystal thefts in Thanalan, we naturally assumed that the trail would lead us back to the Amalja. Yet it did not. It led us across the sea unto Vilbrand.
Vilbrand? There have been reports of increased Sahagin activity of late. Oh gods, they mean to summon Leviathan?
That is the way of it, I fear. Whilst conducting our investigation on behalf of the mineral concern, we came upon evidence implicating the Serpent Reavers. With the aid of the Maelstrom, I was able to verify our suspicions. 'Tis only a matter of time before Leviathan returns to harrow the seas. But there is more. One of the Sahagin, an elder by my judgment, spoke of attaining the gift and knowledge of eternity.
Ugh.
Such a disturbance in the ether. If I did not know better, I should think this device defective. And there is the explanation.
Soon it shall begin. Our Lord shall rise midst surging waves to wash away the finless ones. And I shall be granted the gift and knowledge of eternity, and with the Emissary stand equal. Then shall I know no cessation, no oblivion.
Whence comes this promise of immortality? The Emissary? We have outstayed our welcome.
The gift and knowledge.
Are the two of you quite well?
You shared that vision, did you not? Even before the Sahagin made mention of the Emissary, I recognized Elidibus's words. He is behind this. But surely it is not within his power to grant the echo.
My lady, unless we act swiftly, Leviathan will rise again. The Admiral has already requested that we intervene to prevent this. Failing that, we are to attend to the Primal's extermination.
She will have our full cooperation. Let us make haste to Limsa Lominsa. I mean to play a part in this mission. Tataru, pray, take charge in my absence.
My lady, are you sure this is wise?
I am aware of the risks, but there is something I must see with mine own eyes. The true nature of the echo.
Very well. I shall not stand in your way. On the condition that you permit me to accompany you as bodyguard.
Your company is ever welcome, Thancred.
I take it something ill is afoot.
Aye, a Primal is about to be loosed upon Eorzea.
A primal?
A godlike being whose very existence is a bane upon the land. We scions of the Seventh Dawn are sworn to put an end to their kind.
I see. Know then that I am learned in the arts of war. In return for the kindness you have shown my people, I would lend you my blade.
It would be most welcome. When contending with a Primal, one can never have too many able allies. If you crave a more intimate understanding of the problems facing Eorzea, this experience is like to provide it. Be sure to come well prepared.
Plainly, should the worst come to pass, and Leviathan is summoned, our only recourse will be to face him in battle. Given past experience, you may well think that they eventually inevitable. Yet so long as there is even a chance that the Primal's return might be prevented, we must needs bend all efforts toward achieving that goal. Before we do aught else, let us hasten to the settlements and meet with the Admiral. She will not have been idle in her inconvenient time, and will doubtless have valuable information to share. You are expected. Pray take this up to the command. Welcome, friends. I take it you're still as surprised due to the situation. Let us waste no time then. According to our best intelligence, the Hagen have not crystals enough to summon their god. Alas, we did not count on the separate reavers are venturing as far as Thanalan to supplement their cache. For short-sightedness, we are faced with the grim prospect of Leviathan's imminent return. Needless to say, I'm not inclined to let the fishbacks have their way. Even as we speak, the Maelstrom makes ready to launch a large-scale operation to thwart the summoning, and we would welcome the science support in this endeavor. The gods forbid our efforts come to naught. We will need to trouble you for more than mere support, much as I did when Titan last walked these lands. Lady Menphili, I am given to understand that you mean to accompany our soldiers to the front lines. I can only assume that you have some reasons for doing so. I do, Admiral, but I would rather not be drawn on their nature. I would say only there is something I would like to see with my own eyes. Is that so? Well, I'm not so stubborn just to deny you a wish of one whose aid I require, but precautions must be taken. I shall require that you remain by my side at all times. With that settled, let us speak of the operation. Amkip, Maelstrom scouts are currently reconnoitering Sahagan movements within the spawning grounds. Upon completing the mission, they will return to the operation staging point at Camp Skull Valley. I want you to make your way there forthwith, but you might be apprised of the latest intelligence. Commander Falkrita has charge of the garrison. You may not be able to chance to learn the true nature of the echo. You cannot well allow the opportunity to pass me by. In case I was unclear, time is short, Amkip. Make haste to Camp Skull Valley and request the latest intelligence of Commander Falkrita. I've been expecting you to sign of the 7th Dawn. On behalf of the men and women here, I thank you for your cooperation. Safety of our citizens is paramount. With your aid, we will prevent Leviathan's return. The Maelstrom scouts have dispatched you to reconnoiter the Sapsa spawning grounds. It pays me to admit the Maelstrom has never faced a full life like this before. You must proceed with all due caution. Among other things, they have orders determining where Leviathan might emerge, assuming it comes to them. And yet, the return is long overdue. I fear that ill may have befallen them. For better or worse, you must ascertain their fate. If it is not too much to ask, I would have you witness in this operation. 5 scouts ventured into the Sapsa Alto. Here, take this flask and restore it and contend those who remain in the world. Though it pains me to even consider the notion that they have perished. Circumstances permitting would ask that you recover the bodies. By no means venture too deep into enemy territory, however. We can ill afford to lose you at this juncture. We were ambushed by serpent weavers. Lightly armed as we are, we didn't stand a chance. I was able to flee this far, but the others were captured. They were taken to the serpent's tongue, certain. I can make my own way back to camp, but I fear the worst for my comrades. Save them, I beg you. Here, lads. You returned, thank the navigator. When I learned that you went to the serpent's tongue by yourself, I feared we would meet our untimely demise. Tell me what became of the others. Dear gods! Those wolves were not intended to kill, but to torture and maim. Though the savage will know the balance. Enemies know they go too far. I dread to think where they may have come to, but the two will remain unaccounted for. May they haven't suffered the same evil fate. At the very least, one of my men came back alive. For that, I owe you my thanks. The price we paid was dear, but if we having the intelligence only. You know, as we speak, Ammo finances the detail of the operation. The Warhorns will sound any moment now, before we're ready to sally forth when they do. Nice damn fishback bastards. I'll kill them slowly and then chase the rotten souls through all 7 hells. Please, Commander. We are here for a purpose, and vengeance is not it. I want your mind on the task at hand, savvy? My apologies, Admiral. You may count on me to keep a clear head. Good. According to our sole surviving scout, the Sagan and their thralls have already begun to amass the Aetherite in the depths of the Sapson. If they are to activate, it must be now. The men are ready. They better await your orders, Admiral. As predicted, the Sagan has threatened security in and around the spawning grounds. The fun also is like to be met with fierce resistance. But we are not so artless as that, Commander. We should divide our forces and strike them hard and fast at key locations. Remember, our ultimate objective is to take the Saps and Aetherite and eliminate this Hagen priest presiding over the summer. We're not here to kill them all. Maelstrom shall emerge, engage and distract the Sagan's legion of drowned pirates at the Serpent's Tongue. Commander, you are to have charge over this effort. Be mindful of the lay of the land there as devilish attacking forces. Let the foreign levy spearhead the assault, and have the subsequent units fan out to cover their flanks. At the self-same moment, a diversionary squadron formed of galleons from the Crimson Fleet shall harry the enemy from offshore. In the likewise, we Sciences shall form smaller units in hopes of confusing the Sahagin defensive effort. Amkip Wol, the two of you are to make your way to the site of the summoning ritual. The Admiral's diversion ship served to thin the enemy's defenses, rendering your path less perilous. A small party, I believe, should be able to win through without drawing unwarranted attention. Anchored in Yugiri, your mission is to lure as many Sahagin as possible out of the spawning grounds. Having done so, take your heels and circle around to join the infiltration unit of Y'shtola and Amkip. When all that has been set in motion, I myself shall cut a path to the Aetheryte, accompanied by Lady Minfilia, as was agreed. Don't let me keep you, friends. To battle! When did we last fight side by side, Dick? Too long ago, I'll warrant. But come, let us away. Summoning rituals taking place at the Beastman and Aether and thither we must go. Obstructing our ways a multitude of checkpoints. It would be well advised to dispatch as many enemies along as possible in the way that we might avoid later interference. Let us take separate routes and merge before the Aether, there to confuse the enemies and characters. do not consider yourself. 'Twas but against the blood flow. Come, the Aetherite is close at hand. Let us press on.
Damn them. They have made thralls of soldiers and civilians both.
Did I miss much? So that is how you fight in the Far East. Mental note, pick no quarrel with Domans. But seriously, if I am to keep up, I must needs forsake elegance for efficiency. To the Aetherite!
You'll forgive me my lateness.
I've been something of a liability of late, I know. 'Tis high time I set about making amends.
Long have you shriveled swordwalkers tormented our kind. But no more! Your time is at an end! You shall perish with salt in your wounds and sea in your lungs. Lord of the world, hearken to our plea. Lord of the world, deliver us from our misery.
Do you feel that?
I know this sensation. It's the echo.
What?
Such power! It is
7 hells.
Strike me down if you will. It is futile. I have mastered the gift. I am eternal. O mighty Leviathan, ruler of the seas, born of waters primordial, I offer unto you this frail flesh, that you might grant your faithful servants deliverance. I beseech you, come forth!
Die, damn you!
Foolish shorewalker! You cannot kill that which is eternal!
Heavens forfend.
Damn it all!
My being ebbs away. It should by right be infinite. Am I not immortal? Curse you, Emissary! You promised me everlasting.
Where did he go?
What say you? Nary a single ship? Hells take that sea demon! Gather the survivors and get to shore. Leave the wrecks for the pirates. Leviathan wastes no time. The diversionary squadron is lost. For a mercy, 'twould seem the Primal now makes for open sea. But why does he not press his advantage? Unless... God save us. He means to unleash a tidal wave.
Though our mission ended in failure, take solace in the knowledge that Memphilia is unharmed. Had we only arrived upon a moment earlier, no time to brood over what might have been. Leviathan is returned, and we must needs find a way to deal with him. The gods of this realm are true vengeful beings. 'Tis little wonder the guardians fear the kind servant. We may have a Leviathan on open sea, we bear ourselves at the Primal's mercy. We must think of a way to face him on equal terms. Understand, I speak of no normal wall of water. That which Leviathan makes is ready to conjure. It carries more destructive power than aught seen in nature. Enough to raise entire coastal settlements if this last attempt is any guide. We cannot suffer history to repeat. Yet, how in the 7 hells are we to prevent it? Though our plight cries out for action, we must take thought. So as long as the Leviathan remains in the open sea, he is effectively beyond our reach. Our fleet is second to none, of that you may be sure, but Limp Lane herself would struggle to best the Lord of War in his element. In a straight fight, he would make meat and match with us. We need another plan, that much is plain. Let us return to Limsa and see what we cannot think of. I shall await you in the command. You're expecting the commander. Pray do not keep the admiral waiting. The Sagan Elder claimed to have become eternal, yet he was suddenly consumed by Leviathan. What might this imply? Being the observant adventurer that you are, you doubtless have noticed my daggers and weapon snaps. You know me, Amkip. I like to dabble a bit of this and a bit of that. When I saw Leviathan rise from the depths, I cannot well describe what I felt. No words could prepare one for such a sight. To confront the Lord of the Well in his water domain is far from ideal, and it's not like to come to us. Would that he lacked the means to strike us from afar. Leviathans are allowed to reach the tower, but nothing within 10 miles of the coast will be safe, let alone loose. I chose to see what's at stake.
There used to be a hamlet beyond South Tidegate in western Lanosha. Halfstone, it was called. Some years prior to the Maelstrom's founding, Leviathan rose from the briny depths and set about unleashing watery hell upon us. On that occasion, the company of heroes put him down before he could do too much damage. But when the bastard came next, this time in the wake of the calamity, we were not so fortunate. Weary of ravaging our shoreline, he summoned a tidal wave which fair leveled Halfstone and washed the soil away for good measure.
The area was subsequently occupied by the Sahagin.
Aye, the thrice-damned creatures transformed it into a spawning ground for their brood. Given the quantity of crystal stolen to feed him and his legion of thralls, we can be fairly sure that Leviathan is stronger now than in his previous incarnations. If that sea demon is left to wreak havoc, what befell Halfstone may well befall a larger settlement, even Limsa. That cannot happen. The primal must be stopped.
That was ever our objective, Admiral. But how are we to achieve it? The sea is Leviathan's uncontested domain. The ships of the 3rd Squadron could not close to within 100 yards of the Primal, nor could their cannons pierce his defenses.
I have read the reports, Master Thancred. Our warships may as well have been bloody pleasure barges for all the good they did. 7 hells! Is there no way that we might strike back?
The company of heroes defeated Leviathan, having first lured him into an inlet, but we must needs contend with him upon the open sea. It will avail us little to consult past experience.
Admiral, if I may.
Speak freely, Marshal.
By all accounts, Leviathan's most formidable weapon is the very sea itself. Waves and whirlpools, tides and currents, all these things are his to command. The key to victory, I believe, lies in disarming our foe. This, in effect, is what the company of heroes achieved with their ruse. We cannot lure Leviathan from the sea a second time. But what if we could weaken his hold upon the element of water? I have heard of devices capable of such wonders. They draw upon the power of corrupted crystals, I am told. If mounted upon a ship, such a device might be used to prevent Leviathan from bringing the full force of the sea to bear against us, rendering him no more dangerous than any other sea serpent.
Of course! Sid built a similar device to grant the Enterprise safe passage through Garuda's Tempest, did he not?
Begging your pardon, my lady, but to give credit where it's due, this is something I heard from an old arcanist friend of mine.
It makes little difference who thought of it first, so long as it works. Beg the specifications of this device from your friend, and I shall pass them on to our people at Naldic and Vermelis. But before we proceed any further, I would voice one concern. Piercing Garuda's defenses is one thing. Suppressing Leviathan's attacks, quite another. In matters of science, I am as a babbling babe, but I cannot well imagine that such a feat would be possible without a veritable mountain of corrupted crystals. The question being, do we have a ship big enough to bear such a burden?
Mayhap not, Admiral, but two might. Recall you the tale of Mistbeard's greatest haul? It is said that he lashed two ships together, side by side, the better to bear his plunder. By your leave, we might attempt to repeat the trick. The gods know it would be quicker than building a new vessel.
Mistbeard did this. Truly, Marshal, upon the subject of the Pirate King, you are as a scholar.
Now, from what I have gleaned of these matters, the device will need to be in close and constant proximity to the target. To wit, we must lash our twin vessel to Leviathan. This in itself will be no small feat. Ramming speed will be required, but given the weight of the cargo, that will only be attainable with the aid of a towing vessel. Suffice it to say, the task of piloting said vessel will entail considerable danger, and I would not ask it of another. I volunteer myself.
'Twill be dangerous for all involved, but we have no better recourse. Very well. Commodore, assemble the remnants of the fleet at Morabee Bay. Give priority to our soundest vessels. The repairs can wait. Storm Marshal Slafierson, command of the operation is yours. I want that twin vessel ready to sail post-haste.
At once, Admiral.
And then there is the small matter of slaying the beast. The fate of Limsa Lominsa rests upon your shoulders once again. Go well, warrior of light.
I have my people working triple shifts on the twin vessel, but it will take some time yet. Time we may not have. 7 hells. This waiting's liable to drive a lot of this map. So how can Elder claim to have become eternal? Okay, right. Beings held as gods also exist in what you call the Far East. Legends tell us they walked among us in days of yore, but I confess I never truly believed them. That it should live to behold one is humbling and horrifying in equal measure. Now that I've come face to face with the Primal, I do begin to understand why the Guardians fear them so. What is it? Message, Admiral. Judge it best that it be delivered at once. I am listening. According to the Yellow Jackets, a man has appeared who claims to have defeated Leviathan. One of the company of heroes. The details are yet hazy, Admiral. We have dispatched one of our own to question the individual. I'm disinclined to put any store by this claim. And even should it be true, it is that, as Ishtola said, none save the company of heroes have bested a Leviathan, and we know how they went about it. If this man is there of their number, what could he tell us that we do not know already? And yet, having wagered limbs of survival on 2 ships, some rope and a pile of crystals, can we afford to ignore this man? If his testimony could yield us any manner of advantage, should we not hear it? Damn it all. The twin vessel will soon be ready. We have no time to wait for the Maelstrom's report on the supposed Primal Service claims. Amkip, seek him out and learn what he knows. At very least, it will spare you the torment of waiting for the reckoning in eyes. The man you're looking for is believed to be a resident of the Grey Fleet in Lower Nanosea. Storm private sent to question him should already be in the vicinity. May you prove who. Were our plight any less grim, I should not ask this of you and Amkip, but grim it is, and here we are. Go to the Grey Fleet and find what you know of your fellow Primal Slayer knows. If Primal Slayer he be. Oh, and you have my permission to break his bloody legs if he's lying. Now look here, you. You'll have your bloody story right after you carry those sacks of grain over to the mill. But sir, that's what you said before you had me pick those oranges for you, and before I mucked out the chocobo stables, and before I rolled the millstone over to the mill, and also before... Gods, man, I've worked 3 days straight without a wink of sleep. 3 days! And do you hear me complaining? I suppose some of us just ain't made of the roughest stuff. Alright, I'll give you what you want. Never said that old track do man and generous. Now pick up your ears, because I won't be repeating myself. Too modest, see? Besides, there's only so much epicness a man can take in one sitting. Again? Tale of Choctaw's epic victory over the dread pile of Levi beat us. Now, Levi beat us huge, don't make a mistake. To give you an idea how big, each of his scales is all about as wide as the knee of the members long. And that's no mean feat, let me tell you. When I fought him, I could barely see half it for all the brine he was pelting me with. Must have been a lagoon's worth at least. He even knocked me trusty axe out of my hands at one stage. Of course, That proved to be a grave mistake. What happened next? Well, I grabbed him by the tail and tied him up in knots. When I wanted to take all the glory for myself, I let me mates and the company heroes handle the rest. Like I said, I'm modest as well as heroic. Yeah, too modest. Now, there's some who say we can never truly beat Levi Beatus, that you've got to learn to live with him and make the best of the bad situation, not the company hero. Ugh! It's you! I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I was just enjoying the attention. It's all. Take it back, everything I said. I was never part of the company heroes. I'm no marauder. I'm actually a complete coward. I'm nothing but. I'm choking with dung. No, I'm maggots. You find and choking with dung. I have to live with 2 women who tumble them, and that don't happen much. Remember, it's tiny. It's pathetic. I sure as hell didn't fight Levi Beatus, but I have seen him with my own eyes. 'Twas a fair few years back when I was working as a baker's hand. It was tricking me duties one day, loitering about the heart when I saw it. A great big massive sea serpent some moms off the coast with a fleet of galleons making straight for it, cannons firing. So bloody scared I soiled myself right then and there. Oh God, just remember that day makes me soil myself all over again. Hey wait, if you're asking about after Levi Beatus, it means you're planning to fight him, ain't you? Well, take care. He really is terrible. Dreadful, I tell you. If you're not careful, you'll end up in his gullet or at the bottom of the sea. Why, you worthless lying whoreson! I can't believe you made a handle of chokeable dung. Amkip, this is Midvillia. We're able to learn odd of use against Leviathan. I beg your pardon, Levi Beatus. I see that is unfortunate. At any rate, I have tidings for you. The twin vessel is now complete. We'll await you at the Morabi dry docks. Pray make your way here as soon as you are able. When first Master Enzar was a twin vessel, I must confess I had bad doubts. Although not the whole leader do I see the elegance of the design. To complete the twin vessel in such a time, and with limited materials, people of Meldic and Vilmellis have won an honor. What would that be arm yourselves with more knowledge beforehand? Well, it cannot not be helped. Take comfort in the fact that you have faced worse odds in the past and have never prevailed. You will do so again if that were, I have no doubt. You will find no small amount of helmsmanship to tow the Wol leader. I dare say delivering you safely to Leviathan will be a battle in itself. In order to build the Wol leader, we had to commission 2 perfectly serviceable galleons. Suffice it to say, the captains weren't best pleased with the notion. When I offered them the chance to keep their ships face Leviathan in our stead, they magnanimously withdrew their complaints. We must make all sacrifices for the greater good, they said. Though we cannot command the sea itself, the maelstrom's charged to ensure safe passages and all those so on. Come hells and high water, we will perform our duty. I am told you, John, to the grave fleet prove fruitless. My sympathies lie. I wish it served to take your mind off the events of the recent days. But enough of that nonsense. The moment of truth is upon us. The twin vessel, the Wol leader I call her, is complete, and she surpasses all my expectations. In addition to her prodigious tonnage, she has been fitted with a platform that you and yours might maneuver freely in battle. I would mention that also she is nigh unsinkable, but I'm not one to tempt fate. The Wol leader and her crew stand ready, my friend. Just give the word and we will shall bear you to Leviathan. Having been constructed on some haste, the Horleader may not be pretty, but I assure you she's capable. She has been fitted with what our friends at Naldik and Valmilis are calling an elemental converter. Assuming the thing works, it will use the power of the corrupted crystals on board to rob the Leviathan and its hold on over water. Depending on how the battle unfolds, you may need to activate the device manually. Keep that in mind. It is expected the Sahagin and the Thralls would attempt to come to the Leviathan's defense. Accordingly, the Maelstrom will once again employ their diversions. Thancred and Ishtola would have you assist in this effort. If it is to fulfill its purpose, your diversionary forces must not want for numbers. By your leave, I too would volunteer my blade. We will welcome it. Having seen you fight in Sapsa, I would therefore say this respect would find your presence highly diverting. Thancred and Ishtola if you would join the Third Levy, and Lady Ugiri the Fifth. But what words I have for the man who would make sport of his slain gods? Only these: go warily, for the sea is an unforgiving place to wage war. May the navigator guide you through the storm, warrior of light. I would echo the Admiral's sentiments, and add a few words of mine own. Know that we have the utmost faith in your engine. May the crystal bless and keep you.